Hello, fellow mood readers. Full disclosure, I don't know what happened to my intro to Revisited, so if it didn't record, if it got deleted on accident, something happened. So I'm going to redo the intro for you. I didn't want to just start off with the book. So in this vlog, I will be reading Dragonflight by McCaffrey. I have this and I have it on the Kobo. So let me give you a brief synopsis and then we will get right into it. After 10 long turns, Lessa was ready to come out of hiding to reclaim her birthright and to impress the young dragon queen and become werewoman of Bendon. Suddenly, the deadly silver threads once again threatened all Pern with destruction, but the mighty telepathic dragons that for centuries had defended Pern were now few in number, not nearly enough to protect the planet in its hour of greatest peril. Then Lessa hatched a daring and dangerous scheme to rally support from people who had long ago ceased to exist. This is where we're starting this vlog. I have this box set that you probably have seen before. I will see you all with an update very soon. Hello, fellow mood readers. I have a little bit of an update for you for Dragonflight on the Dragon Riders of Pern book. I am about, I believe that the Kobo told me that I was 25%-ish or so through, because I was reading this also on Kobo. I got it for like $3.99 so that I could read a little bit easier at night. And I do also have the mass market. So it's about page 88. There's a kitty. Hi. No, you're knocking over the tripod. Hi, buddy. What are you doing? Huh? It's a good kitty. Huh? So as I said, I am a little bit of the ways through this. And the language is something that I do not remember whatsoever. How certain things were spoken, or perhaps it's just the arrogance of one of the characters. But this is third person, although it does focus a little bit behind each one. So you get Flar and Lessa in this one. And just some of the way things are said, it's making me laugh, or it's taking me out of the story just a little bit. It feels like everybody has a tint of arrogance, but I suppose that's to be expected, I guess, if you're a dragon rider and they are not. It's like a power dynamic, but just some of the language just kind of gets me, and it's making me giggle because I just can't. And I do love the dragons. They're not specifically as like I remembered, but some of this is actually coming back to me. It does feel like it's slightly coming back to me. I'm not sure how much of this trilogy that I read, but I just wanted to update you real quick and let you know where I'm at. So I am currently sitting there. I'm on part 2. I just made it to part 2. Some of it, as I said, is coming back with the language though. I'm gonna have to look for a passage, but I will let you know. I want to get one that's not like super spoilery or anything. Maybe I'll save that all for the 1.5 episode, because I do think I want to do some spoilers for some of these. I might not do them for all of the episodes, but I may do them for some of them. Let me know, like I said, if you would want a spoiler one. I'm thinking I'm going to do it because I really want to talk about these books and not have to watch what I say on some of the things, just because I don't want to be afraid of giving things away, but I don't want to spoil anybody that hasn't read specific books that I'm going to be reading. So that's why I thought it was a good idea to do a 1.5 and just label it spoilers, like spoilers everywhere. I was kind of enjoying going back to this because there are creatures aside from the dragons. The holds are interesting, and in the start of this, there hasn't been a thread fall in a very long time, and a lot of the holds are not holding the standard, and a lot of the people do not remember why they even have to do the standard because there has not been a thread fall. So I'm excited to see where this goes. I don't remember the outcome very well. It's coming back to me as I read it. Certain parts I'm like, oh, this is a little bit familiar. So I kind of recognized at least the beginning of this one. So I kind of get to read it again for almost the first time, sort of. So I'll see you back here when I've made more progress. I'm back for an update. I figured now would be a good time to let you know where I am and how I'm sitting in the series so far. So I am right at around 67%, or right here, right at about page 209. That says part 3 of the book. So I did make a decision. I thought at first, for a little tiny bit when I was reading it, that I may just DNF this and start going over to Dragon's Dawn and some of those ones. But then a little shift happened, and there is some stuff that I remember started coming back into play, because once, I think it was near or around like 50-55 or something, right around there, there was like a little shift and something in the story happened, and then suddenly I remembered what happens towards the end of this, and it's probably going to happen very soon with the way things are going. It piqued my curiosity because I do remember this. It was like a switch turning on. As soon as that happened, I was like, oh, I remember what happens here, and part of me is just like fighting through the little bit that I didn't quite like here, and mostly it's the wording and it's the way that it's written. Granted, it is old, but there is a way that certain things were written, and the one sentence I read it twice or 3 times, and I'm like, I cannot believe this is in this book. But once some of the stuff started to happen, I was like, okay, I remember this, and I kind of want to see this through. I want to read the whole book. I want to see how it is. I may try the second book to see if I like that one too. Part of me is wondering if I should just go with Dragon's Dawn after this one. I guess it's going to depend on my feelings at the end, but I just wanted to catch you up on where I am and see. I hope you're enjoying the vlog. It was so much fun rewatching Dragonheart, and like that movie just, it was a big part of my childhood. I really enjoyed it, and certain books, when I read them now, if a dragon has a voice, it may or may not be Sean Connery's voice. I'm not gonna lie, I think that's why Fourth Wing was such a fun popcorn read for me, and it brought back a lot of the nostalgia, because I remember this was the dragon riding book that I remember reading, and my memory wasn't great with this. So when I started reading that, it was giving a lot of those vibes, and the dragon was snarky. I read through Fourth Wing. Both me and Allie read it at the same time, and it was so fun texting each other back and forth. But we both did this. I think that's why that book was so enjoyable to me, and it was a really fun popcorn read. But beyond that, there's not much substance there on book 2. So there's just a lot that was wrong with that one. But going back to this, the way the relationships develop between the characters in this doesn't really feel like Lessa and Flar. They kind of have this thing going, but just the way that things were worded and the shift in time, it doesn't seem like she warmed to him too much. And then there's certain instances where it does come out where, she has these moments where it seems like she feels more for him than she did. It doesn't really give the kind of connection feeling there. Part of me is wondering what the rest of this is going to be. Honestly, though, the dragons, the threat of the threads to Pern, all of that is without a doubt the best part of these, and it is the major overarching plot. I just wish I connected a little bit more with the characters. I definitely love the dragons a lot, and I wonder who book 2 follows, because I don't know that book 2 actually follows these two. It might go and shift to somebody else, so that's kind of why I'm like, maybe I should. And then if I'm not enjoying it, in the slight mid slog through the middle part a little bit, I may just DNF that after. But maybe I'll just give that one a chance just to see how it is. Part of me is also like, you really want to read Dragon's Dawn, so why don't you just read Dragon's Dawn? Do you really have to go in order at this point? So I just wanted to catch you up and talk a little bit about this, talk a little bit about what I wasn't and was enjoying. Like, I am really enjoying the dragons. The action right now is great. Things are really happening because it's the end. Not too long ago was that moment where it just flipped the switch, and I was like, oh, that's right, this happened. And I just remembered where this leads to, and I want to reread that part. I really want to get to that. So I'm excited for the rest of this, and I hope you're enjoying the vlog. We'll see how the end of this goes. got an update for you. I finished Dragonflight, and I have to say, while I did enjoy the latter half more, I think overall I am giving this a 3-star. It's right in the middle. The characters were not very likable. I do understand certain aspects a little bit more. I do understand Lessa's ambitions, and I still think I'm just not able to get over some of the language used, and especially some of the things that are said in here to describe things. But overall, this just was fine. A lot of the nostalgia that brought back was what made me enjoy it more, because I did at that 50% or right around there, I remembered exactly what it was that was going to happen. I didn't remember too much on the how or the when, but I was correct and I remembered it. Like I said, overall 3 stars. I don't think I see myself going back to this one, and that means that I did not want to continue with this, because it does continue with Flar, but I don't see myself wanting to go into this, so I'm not going to force myself to do that. So I am going to skip the line, and I'm going to go ahead and read Dragon's Dawn instead. I think overall this one, as well as the Harper Hall, I thought it was, but I couldn't remember, as well as the Dragon's Dawn, as well as the Harper Hall trilogy. Overall, I remember these being favorites. I didn't remember that so much with these. Like, I remember reading Dragonflight. I still don't remember Dragon Quest, and I'm not sure if that's my bookmark in there from previously. I might not have even finished this Dragon Quest, but I don't see myself wanting to go to this one. If you're still with me, thank you so much. I do hope you're enjoying the idea of the vlog. I haven't decided yet what episode next I would want to do. A lot of these rereads I'm excited for, so we'll just see what I feel like when I get there. I'm going to see how much of these I could charge through. Like, a lot of the Harper Hall, like the Harper Hall trilogy themselves, they're quite small, easy reads. I think these were actually perhaps more YA. Yeah, ages 10 to 14. These ones were for a younger audience, but I really enjoyed, from what I remember, I really enjoyed these ones more than the actual first trilogy. I really hope that the rest of this vlog is a little bit better than the first one. It kind of stinks that these are like that, but I cannot go past a 3. I really do. I intend to do a 0.5 episode, I think, because there's some things in here I really want to talk about. It's hard not to let them slip now, because some of them are spoilers, and I don't really want to give anything away if somebody feels like reading these, because they are classics. They are of the time that, like, they were written in the 60s, I think. 68, this is the copyright for, so hello everybody. Yeah, just wanted to update you that I have started Dragon's Dawn, and I already am so invested. I remember a lot of the characters. Some of the names are just super familiar. I mean, some of them are the wear names from Dragonflight, because this is when they land on Pern. So this is the first glimpse of everything before they even know about threads. I already am sinking in a little bit more into this. I'm not even that far in, but here we go. For an update, fellow readers. So I'm reading Dragon's Dawn, and I currently just hit part 2, which is for Threadfall. So I'm partway through here, not halfway through, almost, not quite, but almost. This one actually I find myself liking a lot better than Dragonflight. I think that part of it might have to do with the pacing in this one is just as fast. Like there's no time spent really on too much character development. You get what you get, and that's it usually. And that was kind of how it was in the other one as well. I find myself liking these characters a lot more than the other ones, although some things that have happened are still kind of like, why would you put that in? Like, so it still has its problems. But overall, so far this one, I'm remembering some of it. Nothing's clicked in like Dragonflight for me. So I don't remember, I sort of remember how it ends a little bit, but that's still kind of foggy. So I haven't hit the part yet where it's like, I remember everything about how this ends. So I haven't hit that part in it yet. But overall, I am enjoying this much more. I think it might just have to do with the characters and there being a lot less things that are a little bit problematic. Overall, enjoying this more. We'll see how the rest of it goes. I did hit one of those parts and I was like, oh, I definitely didn't remember this, but I'm like, why? Really enjoying the little dragonettes though, and it's just bringing back some of that nostalgia that I had with this original, like when I first read it. I'm thinking about that. It's been a very long time, but we'll see how the rest of this goes. Hello again, fellow mood readers. I've got a little update for you. I am right around 100 pages left, so I'm hoping to finish this today and give you my thoughts. So right away with this book, it does feel a little bit like more of that nostalgic read that I wanted a little bit. There's some things that have made me laugh with this because they're kind of like a little bit absurd the way things are put. It's really getting into some of the things that I do remember, and I don't remember exactly how this one ends, but I do remember some certain parts now as I'm being reminded as I'm reading for some of the things that have happened. My main takeaway so far is there's a lot going on. There's absolutely no fluff. There are a ton of time skips, and sometimes they happen without even me realizing that they've happened. It does kind of say a little bit how long, and then there's clues kind of mixed in with that. But otherwise, and this doesn't actually even have any chapters technically, which neither did the other one. There's a few where you could tell like it's a break because it starts on the next page and then it has like a gap at top, but it's been a little bit weird reading like that when I'm so used to chapters being short. or like, but this is kind of just, they're a little bit long, which I'm also fine with. I don't mind long chapters. Mostly this just has those few parts. So it's just been kind of a little bit weird going back to something like this. I know I hit part 2 with, yeah. So there is a part 3 and it's on page 267, which I'm on 240 right now. So I'm about to hit part 3 and I'm hoping to finish this today. So we will see what happens. Without spoilers, we've got like some antagonists and stuff doing their thing, and you still have Thread, which is one of the big threats, and you have that understanding with trying to figure out more about the dragonets and everything, the fire lizards, everything that's going on there. There is a lot of things happening at once. It really doesn't give you much time to linger over things. And then, so there was actually a big part of this that happened that I actually didn't remember at all. So it's quite nice to still be surprised by it. I am loving the dragonets though, or fire lizards. I mean, they're called dragonets like inside the book as well, but I'm loving the dragonets, and I'm loving like the connections and finding out more about them and everything like that. And I did love like the setting up of the settlement and everybody kind of getting more acquainted with like the jobs that they're going to be doing and the things, seeing everything settle in actually as opposed to when you're reading Dragonflight, everybody's already there, everything. Because this, I don't remember if I mentioned, I'm sure I did. This is when they first get to Pern, so you have a lot of first times for everything. And I have been enjoying that aspect, and now a kind of everything. There was a time jump, and everybody's already kind of settling in when things really start to go down. So now they're trying to figure out everything else. So hi, what are you doing? Yeah, what are you doing? Huh. So now I'm going to finish those last 100 pages and finish up this vlog. Just hit part 3. I've been just reading since my last update. I really don't remember this part of the story quite as much, so it's kind of nice. to have that. It was a it was a really good part. It was a really good part too with the things that were happening. So like immediately as soon as I started, after those first couple pages, it really started going, because one of the culminations of the stuff that happened in the last part happened. So it was going pretty quick. So like I said, I've hit part 3. I'm getting there. And that's on page, let's see, 269. And I've got just a little bit left to go. 337 is the last page, so I'm on 269. And this is what I mean too by the chapters. Say I have the parts here. Say I have like the parts here. And then this is how you kind of figure out the chapters. There's no like chapter or anything. It's just kind of the whole way through, kind of like that. There's no solid 100% way to know where you are other than your page count. But I am happy that I'm liking this one a lot more than the other ones. There's still things in here that are like, whoa, I didn't remember that, or oof, that was kind of cringe. So, but still overall, the characters are much better. I'm liking a more of them, and I think that definitely helps a little bit more. Plus, like I said, kind of nonstop. There's a lot going on, so it's really quick jumping through things. So the pace is pretty quick. I wouldn't have even mind if it lingered a little bit, because it's not very long. So if it did linger a little bit and give you more time, that probably would have been good too. I feel like while I'm not flying through it, I was reading several books at the same time. So last night I was actually going to read more of this, but I would have had less to actually read today. But Wrath kind of got in my way. I'm really enjoying that one as well. It's got like so much happening in there too, and just an outstanding series. But I'm happy to focus on this today, and I'm kind of glad I got hooked in a little bit with with everything going on right now. So that's where I'm at. I'm on part 3, so I'll update you in a little bit when I finish, because this is the last part left. So that's a wrap on Dragon's Dawn. I just finished just a minute or so ago. I definitely enjoyed this one more. The ending felt a small bit abrupt, but I could see why it ended there. It was a pretty good spot to do it once, you know, thinking about it. So I think my overall thoughts of this are definitely more positive than Dragonflight. My overall thoughts on this vlog are kind of what I hoped for. I wanted to see how these nostalgia reads would go, if I would enjoy these more. The camera shakes, it's the dogs. Sorry. But Dragon's Dawn, I felt more with the nostalgia, and I think it's probably because I read this one more than this, and this one also just, it doesn't hold up now, especially since, you know, I'm older, and I think that when I read this when I was younger, I didn't catch things back then. And I'm like, I think about it now, what some of the things that were in here, and I was like, oof, really? I just took from what I remembered, the parts that I enjoyed, and then when I remembered halfway through, it was once I got to that one point where I remembered most of the rest of it, it felt a little bit better, but it still doesn't erase some of the things in this. So I'm not sure about continuing the rest of this trilogy or the prequel. I think the Moretta is a prequel. I'm not really feeling like going into Dragon's Quest or the White Dragon and even Moretta. I'm not 100% sure what I'll do as far as that. I guess we'll find out later, but I definitely enjoyed this one, and it makes me want to read the Harper Hall trilogy more, because I also really enjoyed that from what I remember, and the short stories that were in I think it was A Gift of Dragons. So overall, I would call this a success, even though I did have very more negative thoughts on this. I will do a spoiler episode. It'll be 1.5 or something like that, and I'll focus on these two and talk about the spoilers and the things that I couldn't talk about in, like, without giving away things. And I wanted to give you more of my thoughts on this and my rating for this. While there's still some parts that were kind of like why or a little bit cringy, I think this one still maybe had less problems than this, but it still had some problems. So I'm going to kind of give it a 3.75, and I'll round it up to 4 for Goodreads. Like I said, I enjoyed the characters way more. The plot was there. I already said that I really liked the aspect of it's their first time there, they're setting things up and everything's new, everybody's figuring out their place. I kind of like that about it. So, and I liked the aspect of discovery a lot, like, the first time seeing dragonettes and all of that. So first time with Thread, it was kind of nice to go into that and read that. But so 3.75 for this, rounding up to a 4 for anywhere that does not allow for half or quarter stars. 3.75 is solid. 4 stars. I will be going into Harper Hall and seeing how that reads now. But I want to thank you if you stuck around through this vlog. I wanted to thank you for sticking around, and I hope you enjoyed the first episode of Revisited. I will probably do the next episode on that Harper Hall trilogy and just kind of get all of the Anne McCaffrey first, I think, unless I feel like reading something different and changing it up a little. But I think that this was a good start. I think I might unhaul these. Maybe somebody will enjoy these a lot more, because I really don't have that feeling of wanting to read them. And if I do, maybe I'll just get them digitally or something. They're not that expensive either on Kobo. So I don't think I feel like going into this, and maybe someone will enjoy a box set if they really enjoyed they really enjoyed this series and it brought, more joy to them. It was kind of a nice reminder, though, of some of the things that I picked to remember for this, because remembering back, I remembered more fondly, and I didn't remember a lot of the stuff that was problematic. So what can I say? I don't know if I absorbed it back then the way I did now, and was thinking more critically now about my reads. Overall, happy with the results. Thank you all so much for watching the first episode of Revisited. Again, I very much appreciate everybody that's subscribed to the channel and comments. I really do appreciate it, and it's really been fun to talk about books with you and to see what you're all reading. I really do love that, and I'm so excited to keep making videos for you, and I hope you're enjoying them as well. I'm not 100% sure when I'm going to put up the spoiler episode, but it won't be too long after this, because I'll probably record it soon before everything completely leaves my brain, I'm excited to get into more of those nostalgia reads and kind of see how my reading taste has changed, and kind of see how more critically I think about things than I used to. So please let me know if you've read any of these or if you enjoyed any of it. or even just what you've been reading recently. I love talking about that with you guys, and I hope you enjoyed the change of perspective a little bit. It was pretty sunny for a little while, and then it was cloudy again, but well, we're getting close to summer, so maybe we'll have more sun soon. It's been nothing but rain. If you stuck around this far before I go off rambling on a tangent again, please leave me a dragon emoji down in the comments. This pin is adorable. Let me know what you've been reading or what you think of these if you've read them. And I will see all of you in the next video. Bye.